Today, I just watched The Event, which aired yesterday, Monday night. And I've read that it's kind of like a mixture between like 24 and Lost, and I was like, I like both those shows, so I want to watch that. And yes, those are dice on my shirt. This is my nerd shirt, and that's awesome. All right, so The Event stars Jason Ritter, who looks a whole lot like his dad, John Ritter, which you might remember from Three's Company and the robot guy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And Blair Underwood as the president, which I've met Blair Underwood before. He was kind of a nice guy. I'll just tell you the story really quick because it's awesome. So I was working at GameWorks in the grand opening, and Blair Underwood was playing air hockey with David Schwimmer, a.k.a. Ross from Friends. David Schwimmer scores on Blair Underwood, and I look at David Schwimmer and I say, "Hey, nice hit." And he picks up his puck and he looks at me and he goes, "Yeah." And then as he does that, Blair Underwood, the sneaky little black guy that he is, he like hits the puck and scores on Ross. And so Ross looks down and looks up at me and like, "What the hell did you just do to me?" And I was like, maybe I should go. And Ross is like, "Yeah, why don't you go?" So ever since then, I've hated Ross, and I hate when people are like, "You remind me of Ross from Friends," and then I'm just like, "I hate you." Anyway, so Blair Underwood's in this, as are a bunch of other people that look kind of familiar in TV, but I don't care enough to know their names. The Event is something. You find out these two characters talk about someone wanting to know more about the event, and then the girl's like, "No, you can't." So you're like, "Ooh, what is the event?" So that's interesting. Okay, but the pilot episode takes place. Okay, here's the weird thing about it is it's not a linear story. So it starts with Jason Ritter in a plane, and you can tell like he snuck in somehow, and he looks really nervous. And then he pulls, and as soon as they take off, he pulls out a gun and runs up to the front, and they're like, "Oh my God, he has a gun!" And then it jumps to this guy driving a car who's trying to chase him down and says that there's a terrorist on the plane. So you're like, "Oh, it's Jason Ritter." And then it goes back in time like a couple of days, or like a few days before, and you find out that Jason Ritter was like getting ready to go on a vacation with his girlfriend and was going to propose to his girlfriend and was talking to the parents of his girlfriend. And you're like, "Well, how did he start there only 8 days ago and now ended up as a terrorist on a plane? What?" And then it goes like 2 weeks before, and you find the guy that was like trying to stop the plane. He was talking to the girl who wanted, said something about the guy wants to know more about the event, and the girl's like, "No, you can't." And then you find out that she's a prisoner, because handcuffs, that she's a prisoner, and then it goes like a few months before that, and you find out that the president finds out about this like institution, or like this prison like in Alaska, where they have people like held against their will, and he's like, "I want to see them." And then it jumps like ahead a little bit where he actually goes there and says, "I want to see their living quarters and their research labs." How interesting. And they say, "Oh, do you want to meet the leader?" And it's that girl. So you're like, "Ooh, what's going on here?" So then it goes to the future. And then, well, not the future. It goes, because like the plane, that's like the present right now. So then it goes back over here to where the president is about, no, it's the same day. The president is about to announce to the world in this press conference that this place existed and he wants to release these people. Well, his vice president and like the general and like someone else, this other Weasley looking guy, they tell him that they don't want that to happen. And so, they tell him they don't want that to happen, but he insists on doing it anyway. So then all of a sudden, like this weird like wind comes, and then they're like, "Oh, we lost a plane, and it might be coming toward here, and we have to get you out of here." So they rush the president into the car, and he looks up, and he sees a plane coming. Or I'll do it this way: he sees a plane coming right toward him, like coming down. So then it goes, and you're like, "Oh, that's the plane that Jason Ritter's on." So then it goes back to Jason Ritter, who's on vacation, and his girlfriend like disappears. And he's like locked out of his room, but his room like doesn't exist anymore. Like he doesn't exist anymore. And so you're like, "What?" And then it goes to her parents, who these people come in and like kill her mom and like kidnap her little sister and then talk to her dad. And then you find out the dad is the pilot of this plane. So then you're like, "Oh my gosh, is he the terrorist?" So then Jason Ritter, you find out he wasn't a terrorist at all. He was actually trying to stop the dad, and he gets on the little phone and he's like, "It's not too late, we can do this, we can stop this." So then it goes to the president, and they're about to go, and then you find out the vice president, the general, and that other Weasley guy left an hour ago. So you're like, "Oh, this is good." So then I'm going to spoil the ending for you because you probably haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to tell you about it to get you excited, so hopefully you watch it. Okay, so I'm going to ruin the ending for you. So then the plane is coming, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And this weird wind starts coming. Like, tables start, like, flipping over, but for seemingly no reason. So stuff's happening, and then all of a sudden the plane's, like, right there. And then this was the craziest part, because I was like leaning back watching it like, I'm really enjoying this. This is really cool. And then all of a sudden the plane like whoop, disappears in this like blue bubble thing. And I was leaning back and I went, what? Like I leaned forward. That's how good it was. I was like, what? So whoop, and then everyone's freaking out. And then like when it did that, like this weird like, I don't know, almost like sonic wave thing, because like tables were flipping over and people were like, oh my gosh, it looked like a hurricane. And then everyone was like, what's going on? So the president's like, what's going on? And then the girl who, you know, the leader who is the prisoner and finds out all this stuff, she was there because she was going to announce with him. She says, they saved us. They saved us. And the president said, who? And then she looks at the president and said, I haven't told you everything. And then it was like, the event. Which is kind of like what I used to talk about with Lost. So, because it ended very cliffhanger-y, and I was like, oh. I'm talking really fast, and I'm in a lot of weird noises. But basically, here's the thing. I don't know how they're going to, you know, make like 5 seasons out of this, but you know what? I've seen weirder pilots, like Lost. That was effing weird. But this one was awesome. I wish it was 2 hours, because I wanted more, but... And don't think the whole time jumping was confusing. It made perfect sense to me. And I kind of hope that that's what they do, that every episode is about like one moment, and then it's all about how everything leads up to that one moment. So, I mean, the dad and Jason Ritter are in this like bloop bubble, so who knows where they are, and who knows who the they were. It could be those scientists that were doing the research thing. Could be aliens. I don't know, but I'm ready to eat whatever they spoon feed me, because I'm hooked for now. You know, I mean, I've seen some shows that like the first few episodes were awesome and then all of a sudden, but for now I'm hooked and I'm excited to see what comes next. So the event, it's on NBC Mondays at I think 9. So it's perfect because you can watch Chuck, you can watch that, and then you know, I don't know, is Castle still on at 10? Maybe watch Castle. But that's what I watched. I'm going to watch a few more other episodes of some other shows and stuff, and I'll let you know. But for now, the event, I say check it out. You know, if you're a fan of kind of like Lost or V or what's that other one? Flash Forward, Fringe, X-Files. You know, those kind of fun little conspiracy theory, crazy, weird shows. I say check out the event. It's awesome. Those are my thoughts. Bye-bye.